Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Visconti. I oversee contracts and procurement for the San Francisco Health Service System, and this is the pre-proposal conference call for our Medicare Plan MAPD PPO RFP for the 2025 plan year. The agenda today is going to be fairly straightforward. I will go through a lot of introductory matters about the requirements for this RFP from a procedural standpoint. Our executive director, who's on the call today, Abby Yant, will speak briefly to our project description, the scope of this RFP, and a little more details on the baseline expectations if you've read the RFP on that section. We will have introduce you to Ann Thompson from our team at Aon. She'll speak briefly to the secure site access. Thank you to most of you who very quickly proceeded with those mutual confidentiality non-disclosure agreements, which are required for accessing the secure site. And we'll close today with questions and answers. Just to clarify, and I'll put this on the screen, again, per the RFP, any verbal communications made by our team or our team at Aon on this call are not binding. We require all communications for this RFP to be sent via email. And I will explain the process shortly about how we respond to questions and post them. But without further ado, a couple of housekeeping matters. As I mentioned to those of you on the call early, we have a lot of people on this call, so if your bandwidth is suffering, you can go to the top of your Teams and simply turn off incoming video. You will still be able to see the shared screen, but you will not see everyone's smiling faces on the video. Again, we are recording this call. This call will be posted to our RFP page by next week. And again, I'm Michael Visconti, and I oversee contracts and procurement. I'm supported here by Patrick Chang, who's my principal analyst, and will be available if there are any technical difficulties. So again, this is the RFP for the San Francisco Health Service System for the Medicare plan. This is our MAPD PPO population as described in the RFP. It's a little over 17,000 individuals. And this will be for the 2025 plan year with coverage beginning January 1 of 2025. As with all city procurements, we have to follow a very strict procedure when it comes to RFPs. First and foremost, I want to highlight what are authorized and unauthorized communications to make sure that we do not have any prospective bidders that could be disqualified. As stated very clearly in the RFP, all communications have to be in email form sent to michael.visconti@sfhss.org, and you can CC Ann Thompson at annthompson2@aon.com. There are some exceptions to this, as noted in the RFP, for technical difficulties with accessing the secure site, with any questions that we have to call on other city departments for, such as becoming an approved city supplier. And again, if there are any needs for clarification on any responses or questions that have been asked. The RFP clearly lays out the key deadlines, and we want to make sure that no one misses those. These are hard and fast deadlines. We are not permitted to make any exceptions to these, even if there are technical difficulties. So as noted in the RFP, when it comes to the deadline for non-financial proposals and for financial proposals, we highly recommend that you email us at least an hour in advance of the deadline, and highly recommend that you look for a written confirmation back from us, either Patrick Chang or myself. As noted in the RFP, we do have a 20 megabyte limit on our emails to the city, so please do check your attachments before sending any questions or your proposals. Make sure that they're under that limit. If you are concerned that they may not be, you can reach out to us, and we can either separate it into multiple emails or find another way for you to transmit it to us, either through our secure FTP site or through the Aon secure site. Again, we have a very straightforward process here. For those of you who have been involved in SFHSS or city RFPs, it's going to be very similar to those. Again, when we get questions, we will again have to receive them via email, and we will respond to all questions in writing posted to our RFP page as an addenda to the RFP. Again, these will be posted at the same time to allow equal access for all prospective respondents. So again, we won't be answering your question directly to your email. It'll be at the same time as everyone else's questions. With that, I'll kind of close with the approved city supplier status requirement. Again, the process for becoming an approved city supplier, for those of you who are not already with the city, can take a little bit of time for larger organizations. It includes being compliant with our 12B ordinance for equal benefits. That also can take a little bit of time with the city, especially if you are an organization with subsidiaries that oversee benefits, as opposed to the organization or the entity that will be doing the ultimate contract with SFHSS and submitting a bid. So again, while that deadline is June of 2024, we highly recommend having someone assigned to your team to look into those requirements long before that due date, because that would be a reason that we may not be able to proceed with a contract. With that, I will pause. I'll check to see if we have any hands raised or questions. We do not. And with that, I will pass the baton over to our Executive Director, Abby Yant.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry, I tried a bunch of tricks to get my camera to work and it's not cooperating, but I welcome all of you to the call today and your interest in helping us procure Medicare Advantage PPO for our membership. Of the many documents that you'll be reviewing as you prepare your submission, I would call your attention to our strategic plan that's been in place now for over a year and has clear goals in there that we have set for retaining affordable, sustainable health plans for our members and their employers. We also have the Advanced Primary Care Initiative, a strong interest, as many of you do as well, on improving the delivery of mental health services. And also we overarching are looking for making progress on having equitable care delivered to all of our folks. In addition, we're a pretty big and complex organization, and so organizational effectiveness and being able to do what we do is really important to us and will be to you as you go through this process. I think we've got a great team in place that's ready to support a rather robust bidding process. We also, as we all know, there's a lot of new regulations coming from feds and California. And so we do want to be clear that we are fully committed to both this adhering in both the spirit and the letter of the transparency rules and regulations that are in place today, including the provisions around the removal of gag clauses from all of our contracts. We are also very committed to supporting the transformation of the healthcare delivery system. As we know, the fragmentation and the inoperability of various data systems are still very much a challenge, and we are very supportive to try to drive system change that provides optimal care for our members. So progress towards an integrated delivery system that would improve access, quality, and affordability. I would note that when it comes to access, we have a very large concentration of members in the Bay Area. So it's really super important that our carriers maintain good, strong relationships with providers and facilities everywhere, but particularly in the Bay Area, as we all witness the consolidation of mergers and acquisitions is going on throughout the industry. We retain a member-centric focus to be certain that the plans that we purchase on their behalf can truly serve them. I mentioned the healthcare equities. Again, it's a huge challenge, but I would just quote one of our commissioners yesterday that outcomes are equitable care, and that is what we're driving towards, and with the help of our vendor partners. Another area that we're very keen on addressing is the significant ongoing cost of pharmaceuticals. We really recognize the value of many of these new treatments, and at the same time, they are very much impacting the cost of healthcare. So if we need to strike a balance there where we can provide the pharmaceuticals, but in a cost-efficient manner. And last but not least, it would be that, we're all very data driven today. And I think this is, again, one of the biggest challenges that we have with our fragmented system is that the data that we collect that would be very helpful to administrators and providers throughout the system, it gets collected at a high cost because they're the ones that are entering the data. And yet they, the feedback that they should be able to receive that would impact their ability to improve performance is not very timely yet. So any of the drivers that we have that can increase the return of feedback data to us and to our providers would be significant improvement in the way that care is delivered. So those are pretty high watermarks. We strive to be the best and are anxious to choose the partner that will be alongside of us in delivering high quality, affordable healthcare services to our Medicare retirees.
Thank you, Director Yan. I appreciate that. Before I hand the baton over to Ann Thompson from Aon, again, she will address the bidding portal. For many of you, thank you for very quickly reviewing the mutual confidentiality and non-disclosure agreements, or MCA as we've abbreviated in the RFP. This is, again, what will allow you to get access to the bidding portal. And so that'll be the questionnaires, financial and non-financial, the census and SFHSS experience data. As we've noted in the RFP, we do say that requests received by 12 o'clock p.m. Pacific on a Wednesday will be have access by 5 o'clock p.m. on Friday. This does not mean that for those of you who've executed your MCAs today that we have it by 5 o'clock today, although this also does not mean that it will not be until next Friday that you have access. We're working with the team at Aon to get that access much faster than that. Again, you will receive an email with instructions on how to register for that bidding portal. But again, as noted in the RFP, you have one authorized representative, but the bidding portal will allow you to have up to 2 individuals have access to that portal. With that, I will pass this over to Ann Thompson from Aon.
Great, thank you, Michael. Ann Thompson with Aon. Pretty brief description here. We'll be using the tool called eBox. It's primarily an online, I'm going to say cloud based, but I'm not technologically savvy enough to really use that word properly. Tool that you'll be able to use to both receive files as well as submit your responses. Through that process, you may receive an email through eBox that is from myself or a couple different names on our team that will be helping to monitor and manage this, particularly in the next couple of weeks with the holiday season. So that might come from Garrett Pagonis, Maridale Goff, Gabby Fierbach, or Mike Clark from my team, as well as myself. If there's questions, those, go through Michael, but we'll work to support for any technological issues. And on the back end, when there are deadlines, the tool does allow for a date and timestamp. So we will be using that to, kind of benchmark against the timeline calendar that's outlined in the RFP. And I think that summarizes it.
Thank you, Ann. All right. At this point, we open up the call to questions and answers. Since we do have a lot of people on this call, I think probably the best thing to do is to use the hand raise function. If you are not able to use that, we'll wait until we're done with the hand raised questions, and then we'll get to others. But again, verbal comments here are really for just to maybe clarify any questions regarding the process. They are non-binding. We will, of course, require you to submit them via email to me after the call, and we'll get those answers posted to our webpage as quickly as possible. Patrick, if you want to help me, if we do get a lot of hand raises, if you want to help me organize those responses. I do know we have one question we received in advance regarding the solution for the non-Medicare members who are either the dependents of or are retirees who have a dependent who is Medicare eligible. We provided our current plan solutions in the RFP as an example of what the current state is, and that's both in the RFP and on the first page, and that's the United Healthcare Select Plan, Doctor's Plan, and then the PPO commercial. We are not requiring bidders as a result of this RFP to match those plan solutions identically. We are open to a variety of plan solutions so long as they address that population, and you will see the information on that population, including where they are located geographically, once you have access to the secure site. Well, it has been a long week, so I'm not surprised that it is a little quiet out there. Well, seeing no, as Commissioner Scott would say, seeing no. Oh, we've got a question here. Peter Cassidy, go ahead, sir.
Yes. Will an extension of the financial proposals be given if CMS has the final notice has not been released by the financial proposal due date of April 9th?
That is a great question. Absolutely, we'd probably need to extend that deadline. Any changes to deadlines, we will handle the same way we handle with questions or modifications to the RFP. An addenda will be issued. It will be posted to our website. Once it's been posted publicly to our website, we will also email everyone who you have listed as your authorized representatives, just to make sure that that authorized representative doesn't need to be spending any unnecessary time throughout their day looking for postings to our webpage. So yes, that would be a reason to extend the deadline, and we would handle that through an addenda. All right, John.
Yes, hi, how you doing? Actually, that was one of my questions, seeing that, there could be some impacts due to the Inflation Reduction Act, and knowing what some of those reimbursements could be coming out in, the final call letter from CMS. Obviously could impact what that rate could be, and April 9th might just be too quick to be able to kind of turn around what that change or differential could mean to the rate, if anything. So that's I kind of had the same question about an extension around that time frame.
Thank you, John. Yes, and our actuaries at Aon are keeping a close eye on that as well. And if we do extend that deadline, I am sure that's going to be known probably a little bit more in advance, and we'll make sure that everyone knows about that. Fortunately for us, that some of you are familiar with our RFP processes. Given our rates and benefits schedule, given that this is for the 2025 plan year, given the timing of the CMS final notice, we do have a set schedule here. But compared to some of our other RFPs, we have a lot more time with this one than we've had previously. So gives us a little more of an opportunity to have some flexibility built into the schedule. And in case there's an event like that, we do have that built in. So great questions. Thank you both.
That's great. I did have one more follow-up question too. I can't remember who the person is. I'm in a car driving right now, so so I apologize. But there was some discussion, I think, around formularies. And is there an opportunity, I guess, for you to look at alternative formularies that could be leaner while still being robust enough to be able to satisfy the needs of your retirees?
That's actually a really great question. Again, submit that one in writing. I think we'll be able to give you a very comprehensive response to that as to what our current state is and what we're looking for. I know that one of the items in this RFP is that we want to address is the cost of prescription drugs, especially for this population. So excellent question. That we'll make sure that's answered in our addendum.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Patrick, do you see any more hands raised? I'm kind of scrolling down the list here. We've got a lot of attendees.
No more hands yet.
Great. Well, as Commissioner Scott would say, seeing none, hearing. Oh, I've got one there. Oh, wait, we got one. Peter Cassidy, go ahead, sir.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Wanted to follow up on some of the pieces within the RFP. Will there be greater detail on the non-financial components criteria for the selection? not instead of just a few bullet points that are in there now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we tend to keep the minutia of the detail of what those specific criteria will be only with the evaluation panel. For those of you who've been on our RFPs before, if you want to look back to kind of the minutia of it, we do have all of that information posted on our site as well as to the Health Service Board. Obviously, we do not ask the the RFP evaluation panel to, simply score based on the non-financials, 1 out of, I believe it's 60 points. There are very strict criteria within each one of them, but unfortunately, we cannot share any more detail on it at this time. All right, Patrick, I'm not seeing any more questions here. Again, we are available via email, any questions you may have. For those of you who've already submitted your MCAs, we will start working very quickly to get you access to the secure site with our team over there at Aon. For those of you who have not submitted your MCA, you've seen the instructions. Make sure you email me with the authorized representative information. Per our city attorney, we need to be the ones who initiate the DocuSign process. But for those of you who've already been through it, you can see that we do that very quickly. Again, Michael Visconti, I oversee contracts and procurement here for SFHSS. We are very excited with this RFP opportunity. Very appreciative of all the interest we have in it so far. And again, I wish you all have a great rest of your day, great weekend, and again, good luck with the process. And I want to thank Ann Thompson from Aon for joining us, and my director, Abby Yant, for her participation on the call today. Thank you, everyone.